Welcome back, Amanda Sahaida here. This project challenged me to take on the complexity of a federal scale redesign. My role spanned product and UX UI designer, researcher, and strategist. This 5-week team sprint in 2024, it gave us the foundation, and my independent 2025 iterations expanded and refined the vision into a more inclusive and user-centered experience. This project began as a 5-week sprint with a team of three. Together, we ran user interviews, card sorting, and heuristic evaluations for the USDA homepage. I independently led heuristics for the NRCS site, the acronym for National Resources Conservation Services, which is one of the USDA agencies. I also created early concepts for the Forms Library page and a conservation concerns page tied to the NRCS homepage. Here on our Figma board, you can see our early shared collaboration, synthesizing interviews, building proto-personas, and testing navigation ideas. I developed Stacy strategy art proto-persona inspired by both research and my own experience working with the USDA. After the team sprint concluded, I expanded the work independently. While my teammate Garrett, he contributed a USDA logo and footer design during the team sprint. Most of the research and design decisions you will see in this presentation and on my portfolio site are my own. The challenge. Number one, overloaded. USDA spans 29 agencies, each with its own content and processes. While I didn't redesign every agency's site, I had to study them to ensure the design respected and interconnected that ecosystem. Number two, cumbersome. Forms were dispersed and inconsistent, creating inefficiencies for both citizens and staff. Number three, lacking. The homepage didn't fully reflect USDA's own 2022-2026 strategic plan, which highlights 8 mission areas, priorities like conservation concerns, and commitments to underserved communities. Number four, unconsolidated. 29 separate processes made staff and citizen workflows confusing and inefficient. My goal was twofold. One, for the public-facing side, I emphasized education, conservation, disaster resources, nutrition programs like SNAP and WIC, and regenerative development. Number two, for the staff-facing side, I designed a federal worker profile, essentially a gateway to an intranet so employees can manage tasks and workflows separately, leaving the main site focused on public needs. And looking ahead, if USDA ever truly consolidated its 29 agencies under one filing and process system, that would likely require a new contract and major collaboration. But this redesign shows how the groundwork could begin. Our research combined heuristic evaluations, user interviews, and ethnographic observations. We found that USDA's homepage didn't clearly communicate its objectives, navigation categories missed the full scope of resources, and dense, text-heavy pages created accessibility barriers. Public users often felt underserved compared to business-facing content. User interviews reflected this tension with the following quotes: "This site doesn't feel like it's for me. It could be more colorful and exciting. It could use more videos." Competitor analyses reinforce these findings. Organizations like FAO and World Wildlife were already moving towards more interactive, visual, and engaging designs. So that inspired me to position USDA not just as a business-facing site, but also as a public-facing platform, using inclusivity, education, and storytelling to engage broader audiences. Here you can see a zoomed out shot of my redesigned prototype side by side with the original sites in comparison for the USDA homepage, Forms Library, NRCS homepage, and the conservation concerns, plus the new federal worker profile. This project involved a huge amount of interaction design. Every page was built with clickable components and layered prototypes, from navigation hovers to carousels, search flows, and mobile task paths. Each interaction was tested and refined. At this scale, showing everything at once might look cluttered, but it reflects the depth of iteration required for a system this complex. Now looking closer, you can see how these design decisions connect across the USDA and NRCS pages. For example, I made mission areas on both sides fully interactive with carousels, and I brought priorities forward instead of hiding them behind buttons. I added USDA and NRCS's mission, vision, and values up front for clarity and trust. The featured section on USDA homepage highlights not just internal programs like farmers.gov, but also public-facing resources like recreation.gov, customs and pet travel, and climate change information. Under How Can We Help You, I built shortcut carousels that consolidate disaster resources, wick, snap, and conservation concerns, making them visible and usable for the public. On the NRCS homepage, I redesigned their secondary menu to be more engaging and colorful, improving wayfinding for content-heavy sites. I also added a Get Assistance section explaining how to apply for different types of support, moving beyond the vague call us for help of the old site. Conservation concerns became interactive carousels instead of just static lists, and even included playful storytelling like a polar bear named George, with interaction to spark curiosity and empathy. For the library forms page, I created a drop-down for common forms and linked each agency to its own library, solving the inefficiency of 29 separate filing systems. Together, these features make USDA's vast resources easier to find, more transparent, and more engaging. Alongside the public redesign, I also designed a federal staff profile feature. The purpose here was twofold: to improve efficiency by streamlining workflows and to boost morale by providing modern supportive tools. The secondary menu expands to quick access, bookmarks, forms, and favorites. I also included agenda and tasks so employees can track their day without juggling multiple platforms. I want to pause and zoom out to show you the scope of this redesign. What you're seeing here is my full Figma board with my wireframe iterations. This project wasn't just about a final polished screen. Each of these sections went through multiple rounds of iteration, prototyping, and refinement. While I won't walk through every frame here, this overview demonstrates the systematic design process behind final results. Looking at USDA's 2024 and 2025 sites side by side, the shifts are telling. Both versions kept redundancies like multiple media sections tucked in with important news in odd places. In 2024, they had their news here and here. In 2025, they had key features with news tucked in there. This was their January design, and they actually didn't have news at the bottom too, but in their September redesign, they have the news scattered in their key features section, and down here they added back the trending news and updates. But by 2025, priorities like climate change and advancing racial justice were removed. Veterans also became the focus for rural development, while underserved communities faded from view. I had added the Rural Community Toolbox to my 2024 redesign on the featured sections, but that program was eliminated in April of 2025. And I noticed that the rural health website for USDA was not redesigned like much of the other USDA pages. And key tools like Ask USDA for Help also disappeared from the homepage. Interestingly, it was there in their early design in January, but it was removed a few months later. And then there were positives, like the color palette improved, like this tan color here, I didn't really like. I noticed right away, and they updated it to a more gold color, but I still think that the banners could be bigger. They also added a Spanish translation, which, okay, that is gone from that now. Let's see. The big takeaway for me here is that design choices reveal priorities. My redesign asked the question, what if inclusivity, transparency, and accessibility weren't optional but non-negotiable? These are principles I carry into every project I take on. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to explore the heuristics, the sitemaps, and wireframes, and detailed design decisions, just keep scrolling through the full case study here. I've added a sticky index so you can jump directly to the sections that interest you most, or if you're strapped for time. And as always, feel free to contact me either by email or LinkedIn. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.